coming back with another live on the Minnesota protest. God bless everyone. I pray everybody's having a blessed Friday. If you would like, subscribe, share this out, please.
We don't need them here. Please leave.
So on that note,
I only have cash out. If you'd like to buy me a coffee or give to the channel, it's in my description.
Local officials to conduct their own investigation, that it will be the federal government investigating itself as to whether or not its killing of Renee Good was justified.
Yeah, that always works. Obviously, that's one of the reasons I'm here. Yeah. It's bullshit.
Had you been someone who would go out to protest movements in the past? Is there something unique about now? Through a little bit of your personal history and why you felt compelled to be out here.
So I was living in South Minneapolis when George Floyd was killed, and we did go to a couple protests then. Now I didn't have the heart to watch the videos of George Floyd. This time I felt it was my duty to do so, and watching those videos, I don't think any reasonable person could think that was justified amount of force. Like, for even if she was blocking the road purposefully, it didn't look like he got hit. Even if he did get nudged, the 2 shots that he fired when he was directly on the side seemed malicious. That's just something that I can't support. And the fact that within hours Kristi Noem was branding her a terrorist is just unacceptable.
Branding a mother a terrorist, a mother who had just dropped her kid off at school, branding her a terrorist, even though in the video you can see her trying to wave the ICE agents past her vehicle, and then they come up to her, which starts that whole interaction, and I think most people have seen the video at this point. When you see the way the federal government is comporting itself, even though it's claiming that its immigration enforcement actions here in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, and cities across the country are about safety, but so many of these cities now, we've seen it just yesterday in Portland, the day before here in Minneapolis, down in Chicago on 2 different occasions, people being shot by these federal agents. I'm not even going to ask you if you think that it's making your community safer. I think that, yeah, you would just end up laughing at me if I asked you that question at this point. But looking forward into the future, do you see any way of kind of pulling the nose up on this plane, so to speak, on trying to pull us out as a country from this very dark spiral that we seem to be in right now?
That's something that I've been thinking a lot about, because, accountability is an issue, but the pendulum is going to swing. So if we are aggressive as our opponents, then it's just going to keep swinging farther and farther. So I don't have any answers on that regard. I just want to make sure that I come out and make my thoughts heard.
Make your thoughts heard. Are you making your thoughts heard to your leaders at all? And do you feel like the opposition party in this country right now is doing an effective job at pushing back against the Trump administration?
Oh, you're talking about the Democrats?
Yes.
I don't know anybody that I talk to that is happy with the Democrats. I really think that they're trying to set up this red versus blue dichotomy, and it really comes down to me, people that own everything and people that own nothing. And I really think that it's important that we start to have some sort of equity among people so that we can make a living, because it's getting really, really tough out there for people, and it's unacceptable.
Let's seize on that here for just a moment before I let you go. In what you're showing this world as a world of the haves and the have-nots. I think a lot of people would sympathize with that framing right now. In what ways in your day-to-day life are you seeing struggle, be that economically, in terms of justice, however you want to frame that? What are the problems that are actually facing your life right now that where the Trump administration could, if it wanted to, instead of spending billions upon billions of dollars on ICE, actually invest in people in your life to make a real difference?
So, having worked in corporate America, I really think that antitrust laws need to be more apparent. We're consolidating all of our corporate powers into very small entities, and it's just a lot of buzzwords, but it's just enshittifying a lot of our processes. We're not competitive worldwide, and we're not spending money on infrastructure or research into improving our futures, we're basically just stripping America for parts for the lucky few at the top that benefit from those things.
How do we stop that future from becoming reality?
Call your local senator. I don't know, man. Like that's one of the things. I'm out here. I want to get involved in local government. I want to not like run, but I want to understand from a ground level, at least to make some small wins, because it looks untenable looking at from the federal view.
Michael, thank you very much for rolling with the punches here. As I initially pitched you, I'm just talking about the last few minutes, and then we started talking about the problems facing the world in our future. So you work on those problems and let me know when you come up with solutions, and we'll do a second interview for you to roll those out. Thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add while you have the platform?
Fuck JD Vance.
In particular, is there a reason?
Before I came here, I was just watching what he was talking about with Renee Cool, and it was just vile. It was vile.
Is there a particular accusation or anything he said that really struck a nerve?
I can't think about it. I'm sorry.
I won't make you relive that. I'll let you get back to your protest. Thank you very much, Mike, for talking to me. I appreciate it. Oh, we got breaking news coming in. Okay. Let's see. Of course, we just got another hail of pepper ball there in the air. Okay, so this is breaking news that we have coming in right now. Minnesota leaders are announcing today an investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good by ICE agent Jonathan Ross earlier this week here in Minneapolis. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison announced the investigation after the FBI took sole ownership of investigating the shooting, which renewed tensions in the Twin Cities amid increased federal immigration enforcement. So local authorities are going to carry forward with their own investigation of the shooting, and we'll be getting folks' reaction to that here as we continue to report. But what we're hearing is that, yes, the state attorney general and local district attorney coming out and saying they will be investigating, and this will be taken, it won't just be relying on the federal government to investigate itself for a shooting that it perpetrated and determining whether or not that shooting was justified. At a press conference this morning, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey echoed calls for local leaders to be involved in the investigation, addressing federal officials regarding the FBI taking sole ownership of the shooting probe. If you've got, and this is a direct quote from the mayor, if you've got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it, the mayor said. And I'll note that this is after a quite concerted pressure campaign from people here in Minneapolis, in St. Paul, in the Twin Cities area, in the state of Minnesota, and across the country, putting pressure on the local officials here to demand justice for Renee Good, her family, and her community members who have been directly impacted by what has happened here in the Twin Cities area. This is a first step. Let's be clear. This is not guaranteeing that any sort of real justice is going to be merited out, but an investigation is a start. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is asking the public for information on the deadly shooting, asking the public to send further video evidence of the shooting if they have it. You've seen many of those videos, no doubt, on your social media feed. We've covered them here on Status Coup. The FBI collected Renee Nicole Good's car and has not given the Minneapolis Bureau of Criminal Apprehension access to the car or forensic evidence. So this investigation that local authorities are going to mount is going to have to be heavily reliant on community members coming forward and telling them what they saw and using the existing video evidence, where I will note that the New York Times already performed an extensive analysis of some of those videos and found that the agent, Jonathan Ross, had drawn his gun before Renee Good started to drive forward, already had that gun drawn, and then fired the shots while standing to the side of her vehicle, not directly being in the path of that vehicle. Still shot and killed her. So that's breaking news that is coming in just right now here in the last few minutes. We're getting reaction from some of these people in the crowd. But before I do, John, if you just want to swivel around just to show the status of where these federal agents are, since we didn't show them really during that last interview that we were doing over the last few minutes, that they are still out here staring down this crowd. And this is sort of the back and forth that we've seen. They'll come out, directly challenge the crowd, push the crowd back, maybe use things like flashbangs or shoot pepper balls. And then they'll move back a little ways. In previous interactions, we'd seen them go all the way back into the parking lot, into their cars, and sit inside those vehicles, presumably to stay warm, because it has been pretty cold out here this morning. But still staying out here and keeping a direct eye on these protesters, though I'll note that their presence just really agitates the protesters out here. Thanks, Jim. All right, I want to go find Kelly. Yeah. This is my behind you. Here's my cameraman job.
Okay.
Going.
Good. How are you? Nice to meet you.
All right. So, Kelly, if I could just have you start. Spell your name for me, please.
My name is Kelly Gregg, Kellygregg.
I want to start before we address, I think, the elephant in the room of ISIS presence in the community, what's been happening to your fellow community members. I want to start small. Can you just explain the jacket that you're wearing?
Yep, I got this. This was government issue. I was in the Navy, 81 to 85. I was in SEAL Team 4. I served combat experience. I was in Beirut in 1983 when the barracks blew up. We had to request permission. It had to go up the chain of command to put a bullet in a chamber and a rifle when we were getting shot at. It took time to go up the chain of command. And now it's a hair trigger, and these guys are locked and loaded with assault weapons. This doesn't look like anti-protesters. This looks like a militia. And they're not sending militias to Republican communities. They sent them to ours. We're a Democrat community. This is all about divide and conquer. This has nothing to do with immigration. Unfortunately, they're ripping our community apart. And they think that this is justified. No way.
You use the word militia to describe the federal, what's supposed to just be law enforcement, but yeah, it looks very militarized.
Look like law enforcement. How often do you see assault rifles being carried casually by these militia? You don't see that in the community. Our officers aren't dressed like this. FBI, do I typically see them dressed that way? No. You usually can't tell the difference with FBI. It's going to get noisy here soon.
Yeah, crowd getting noisy, shouting shame just towards the agents there across the street. Kel, yeah. We're gonna move back a little bit out of this crowd so that Kelly and I can have a little bit of a calmer conversation. So, Kelly, off camera you were telling me, that word militia that you used to describe them. That's what they look like. But that's what I was saying.
And when I was in Beirut, there was the Shiite, there was the Phalange, there were Druze, there were a number of militias. That's what a militia looks like. I've seen them. I saw them as a Navy SEAL. I'm standing here. I'm a former Navy SEAL. Those guys yesterday were saying, no, you're not. Bullshit. I was in class 118. I started in an underwater demolition team, UDT 21. I'm a plank owner. I'm an original member of SEAL Team 4. This is 40 years on. And here I am wearing this jacket, serving my country, protesting that shit.
When you're referencing that you right now are serving your country by standing up against the government. What would you say to, I imagine that if I were able to interview some of those law enforcement officers over there, they might try to tell me, some of those agents might try to tell me that they are serving their country. What would be your message to them?
Tell me about the service. You're not going to Republican communities. You're going to Democrat communities. This isn't about people being here illegally. This is about destroy the community. This is about a president who is turning our country into a fascist state.
We're going to take a break here from talking to Kelly just because we're seeing the federal agents are moving down back into the road. Looks like they are. Yeah, we'll come back. Shooting pepper balls at the foot of protesters who had walked back across the line.
Some of the little protesters have sat down, putting up the peace sign with the fingers. Standing just on the other side of that yellow line. And just that simple act of standing on one side of the yellow line in the street was enough to be met with force from federal agents. Seeing the federal agents taking a few steps back right now. Protesters, some of them edging forward just a step or two. Protesters yelling out right now to quit your job at the federal agents. Ask them if they feel better now, if they feel like a man for shouting or for shooting their weapons, shooting their pepper balls.
Sorry about the language on there, guys.
We're seeing one protester getting drops put in her eyes.
She's got asthma. Got it in her eyes. Fucking crying yourselves, you pieces of shit!
Woman keeps saying that she was trying to get her mask on, but the agents fired, and that cloud of pepper, it seemed, came into her eyes.
No, wherever she wants, you want me right there? All right.
My apologies. Yeah. Trying to find him. Oh, there he is. Kelly, would you mind if we picked up our conversation again? Yeah.
Kelly.
We actually need to stay a little bit closer to the crowd.
Go hit the like button, please.
In case things happen here. So
Don't forget to
when
like
we
and
left off
subscribe.
Before the agents started firing pepper balls here at the crowd, you were just finished talking about some of your experience with militia. To see the federal government using deadly force
against its own citizens.
In your community. I mean,
my community. This is home for me. The government didn't send these folks to Republican constituencies. They sent them to Democrat-leading constituencies.
so what's the message that's being sent there?
He's tearing us apart by design. And then he's gaslighting the things that are happening, the things that are on video. He's gaslighting us. This is absurd. It's psychotic. And that's Trump. You know, yesterday I heard an ICE agent saying they're taking out rapists and gangsters. Well, it's funny because the president was actually found guilty, I believe, of rape. Shouldn't they be after him? I find it ironic. And then they send these people to our community. This is not my idea of what doing your job is. This is my idea of you're just out making a buck. They're poorly trained. There has to be a sensitivity here. They're not in places in Texas. Don't you find that ironic? They're not in Florida. They're not in Texas. This is this is awful. I'm angry about what happened in Minneapolis this week. Why am I angry? Because a person, how do you get out of that situation? I mean, you're in your car and you're trying to get out of there. She meant no harm to them. I mean, she's a woman who's 37. She meant no harm to them, and they killed her, and that's just so wrong. I heard, I think it was you saying, Ellingson is putting forth an investigation.
Yeah, local authorities are going to investigate the shooting.
Thank God. You know?
Why is that important to you?
Because if the FBI and Kash Patel take this over, it'll never see the light of day. They've already made their judgment, and it's not a problem for them. The problem is it's in the face of reality. I don't know. I'm standing here looking down the face of a gun. I'm watching these guys. They've got assault rifles out. I'm watching community members get drugged by in the back of these cars, getting sent off to God knows where. And that's okay. These are the people who are probably...
See more agents get out.
Uh-oh, guys. Popping off.
Targeting one of the protesters for arrest.
We're in the end days, guys.
Firing more pepper balls.
Jesus coming soon.
Keep them back. As the
mean, look at this.
are making these arrests.
This ain't ever happened in this country like this. Until he gets here, you better buckle up, buttercup. Y'all better put your seatbelt on. Better yet, you better hope you got a 5-point harness and a Hans device.
It was a pretty sudden movement of the vehicles just pulling up abruptly and then arresting these two. The agents pointed to the two that they arrested, directly pointed to them as if this were a targeted operation, jumped out, grabbed them, and quickly arrested them and established this perimeter where they're keeping the crowd back from where they are. Now you see how angry the crowd is in response, keeping that little bit of space between them and the agents, but letting the agents know how they feel. A lot of people in the
If y'all
crowd
would
going,
like,
"Fuck
subscribe,
you, go home."
share it.
These little bitches.
I only have Cash App. My Cash App's in my description.
In a wheelchair. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Don't you realize you're on the wrong side of history?
Agents are
Please
loading
forgive
up
the
in their
language.
car right now and driving away with the people that they had grabbed.
Why they got suppressors on them ARs? Somebody leave me say it in the chat. Tell me why they got the suppressors on there for.
You're all traitors, especially you, little lady, betraying your own fucking people. How the fuck your grandmother with 3 kids for no reason. She was a poet. Did you listen, you fucker? Yeah, you've heard of the monsters. You molested. You're Nazis.
Did you see them like when they jumped out? Like, yeah, there was 2 of them, but you didn't see. I mean, it moved so fast. Yeah, feel that. Yeah, so you're feeling the effects of the pepper spray in the air. The crowd right now is trying to put together exactly what happened. From what we saw, again, it was a black SUV that pulled out here into the crowd. John, did you see where it came from? If it came from within the Whipple building parking lot at all? No, we don't know exactly where the vehicle came from, but it pulled up very abruptly. The agents jump out. I saw some of the agents point out the first woman that they grabbed. The first woman that they grabbed, they pointed to her. I'm not, it, like that was targeted, that they were going after her. After that, another man was grabbed, but not clear if he was also part of that targeted grab or that was just them, again, trying to enforce that area you saw where they keep the protesters back as they're executing the arrest. And you saw the animated result from the crowd that it gets as more Americans being, presumably, American citizens out here to protest their own government being snatched off the street and shoved into an SUV with tinted windows and then driven away. Driven away to we don't know where. You see the agents now backing off across the street, the protesters feeling comfortable to once again walk right up to the edge of that yellow line. So that yellow line is what they've been told by the federal agents is the extent.
That was weird, y'all.
Of
they do some facial recognition with the camera.
That they're allowed to get.
Seen somebody that they wanted and they went and got them.
And as you look down the crowd here, basically you can kind of draw a line.
That was cray, y'all.
More or less right on, if you are just over that yellow line where they've been told to stand. But even though they were allowed to stand as far as they are right now, when that vehicle pulled up, the agents all worked to shove the protesters back behind that yellow line away so that they could arrest that woman and that man. There's a lot of press out here today. What you're looking at is someone who does sketch artist renderings as a member of the press of the scenes out here. Federal agents definitely in these vehicles, which are slowing down, which made the crowd grow a little apprehensive that maybe another arrest was about to happen, but it was just slowing down because they had to slow for someone who is crossing the street to allow them to cross. Those vehicles were filled with more federal agents, so they've got that animated response from the crowd. I'm gonna try and grab this guy here in the yellow coat. Yeah, we can see right here. All right. Can I have you spell your name for me?
Yeah, Ryan Maher. It's RyanMaher.
Ryan, First, give me your Twin Cities resume, bona fides. How long have you lived here? How long have you called this place home?
I don't live in the Twin Cities. I live in Waukee, Iowa. I drove up here this morning at 5 a.m.
Why did you feel compelled to be here today?
I came up here in 2020 after George Floyd was murdered, after I watched that video. And on Wednesday, I got word that Renee Nicole Good was murdered in cold blood. And I made the decision right then and there that I was going to come up here one way or another. They fired the first shot. I'm not calling for peace anymore. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what that woman in the press room says. I'm not calling for peace. They fired the first shot. We have the Second Amendment for a reason. It's time for people to come back here with weapons and show these people that we're equals.
I can just feel the emotion coming off of you right now. You've been wearing it on your sleeve today. As I've seen you like have some interactions with other protesters here. Describe to me some of those emotions that you're feeling right now.
I'm angry. I'm angry. We knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen the minute they called the election in 2024. That's why what I did right when I knew the election was going to go the way it did, that's why I went and I bought my first gun. I used to hate guns. I used to think that it was insane that we have more guns than people in this country. And in reality, I still do think that it's insane that we have more guns than people. But if we've got people like these guys out here just terrorizing people, kicking in doors with no warrants, kidnapping people with no cause, and murdering people for trying to flee and for obeying a command to leave the area, and then shooting her in the face like that after she drops her kid off at school, we have to show up with guns. We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I don't have a Minnesota carry permit. I'm unarmed right now, but this is the last time I show up to face these guys without a weapon. There's no way. I got shot with a pepper ball 5 minutes after walking in here. I never laid a finger on them. I never raised a hand to them. I've only been using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
You're talking about, potentially going to a dark place in this country. Do you foresee...
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We have people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box. That's the only way. If there was another way, I'd be advocating for it. I've spoken peacefully. I've marched peacefully. I've marched without Sharpton. I've marched on Washington. I've been peaceful. I've acted peacefully. The time for peace is over. The time for any means necessary is right now.
It's a powerful, powerful message that you're delivering here. When you're talking about facing these agents who are armed right now with, we're seeing them with pepper spray, obviously shooting the pepper balls, but we've seen them also with long guns. What's the message that's being delivered?
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you. I might come back with another live. Something else pops off. I hope they don't do what this guy is saying. That's not right. It still should be peace, but we're in the end days, so y'all don't never forget Mark 16:16. Whosoever believeth in me and is baptized will be saved, but whosoever doesn't believeth in me is already condemned. I love you all. Thank you for all new subscribers. Welcome. But more importantly, don't ever forget Jesus loves you. Oh, y'all have a blessed rest of your day.